Welcome to my latest experiment. This is a big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. Soda dirty like Diana never clean. My ex asked me where you're moving, I said on to better things. Welcome to the Guy and Harley podcast. I'm Guy Pigden.
And I'm Harley Neville. Who was that?
That was Drake. That was my man Drake.
Drake. There's cool hip-hop and there's uncool hip-hop, and Drake is definitely in the latter.
But you saying that shows how uncool you are. He's the first person to have like basically the entire album in the top 100 singles with his new album. He's very popular just at the moment. But it's a good album too.
Don't like his name,
Drake.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I think that's his real name.
Right, just not feeling it. It's just not cool.
The only thing I don't like about Drake, well, I don't like a couple things. One,
does he dance in his videos?
No.
Oh, that's good.
One is that basically his songs consist of like one verse repeated 4 times.
Yeah.
So they're very repetitive, like the songs are very repetitive, which makes them very catchy, but it's also like, come on, bro. I know that you can think up another couple verses. Do you really have to go back to, like, it's a gimmick, it's a thing, it's just what he does, but I just don't like that as a strategy.
But fuck it makes money from stupid people who buy it. So,
like myself. But yeah, so that's one problem. The other problem is that like sometimes he gets a little, gangsterish with his talk. Like, he's like, you don't want no trouble with me, man. And it's like, he's a Canadian former child actor, so it's like, sure, probably you know some tough guys now. Yeah. But realistically, you're not a thug, you're not a gangster, you never have been, you never will be. A lot of your songs involve you singing for like half of them. Yeah. Like, so the tough guy shtick, just lose that and do the other stuff, because the other stuff is fine and good, but that stuff where you're like acting like you're the dude that you don't want to mess with is ridiculous.
Pull your fucking head in, Drake, because you ain't from South Dunedin, like me, son. So I'll bring it. So
lots of exciting news on the podcast. Lots of things happening with the zombie film. Yep. You're getting carpal tunnel from all the things.
Yeah, so I've been working pretty hard on the promotion lately, just emailing lots of people, emailing websites, horror websites, film websites, emailing reporters and producers that I know. Yep. Trying to get on their shows and that type of thing. Also, just countless hours of Facebook posts, organising events, and
fraping people,
all the rest of it. And basically seizing every opportunity, as well as replying to a lot of people. Heaps of people have been sending me messages now. Just some of them just wanting to chat, and some of them wanting to network. Which is great, and I do my best to reply to all of them. But yeah, I might be getting RSI. Like, honestly, my right hand, this time not from the wanking, is cramping up.
Although the wank is not helping.
The wank is not helping, yeah.
So if you, like, wake up in the morning with, like, a proliferation of zombie Holocaust posts on your page, you've been fraped by Harley Neville.
Yes.
Harley was here.
Yes.
It's been good, though. We have sold out the the premiere screening, Auckland screening. Was sold out. That's all done. But
sold out in like a week. We sold out, and we still have more than 2 weeks to go before the screening, and we've sold it out.
I haven't even started any of the ads for it yet.
That's the thing. We haven't even pushed it. Like, I haven't even pushed it really. I've pushed it a little bit, but I haven't put my full Facebook weight behind it yet.
Such is the might of Pigville's social media presence.
Well, I really do feel like we are blowing up a little bit now, and it feels good after these years.
These years,
it's been a very slow build, but I have noticed it slowly building, and I've always waited for this time when it might reach a sort of a pinnacle and then just start rolling by itself, get that momentum going. And I'm really hoping that this could be the beginning of it, because aside from the fact that, my Facebook and our Facebook pages are kind of getting heaps of traffic, there's also our YouTube channel is just blowing up at the moment. We're averaging 29,000 views a day at the moment. A day! It's outrageous.
It's mental.
That is mental. And in the past, in our sort of prime, in our peak for a while there, we were maxing out at about 8,000 views a day, and I was fucking stoked on that.
Was great.
I was like 8,000 views a day. That's huge. Now we're at 29,000, and it, looking at the graphs, it looks to be an ascension that is continuing. That 29,000 is averaged out over the last 30 days, but actually the last 10 days or something, we've been getting like 50,000 a day. So in another 10 days or so, our average will be up.
Well, I think what's interesting about that is, like you talk about 20,000 views a day, you're talking about 100,000 views on something, right? Now, there was a time when that would be so significant in a person's career because, you'd be like, literally 100,000 people just saw my thing. This is amazing, guys. Like, if you think about the hustle of someone, like a filmmaker, and he makes 100 VHS copies of his film, and over a year, he gives them all away.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, it's doing the rounds.
Yeah.
It's circulating. And like, that's what people were doing.
Yeah.
And then, we come along and we're like, only got 5,000 views on this one.
Yeah.
It's very, like, everything seems, it's all relative, but like, everyone seems very dismissive of like, like if I was a producer and you're like, so wait a second, so 20,000 people watch your thing. Did you say it was a day?
29,000 a day at the moment.
Okay, so you're saying that 29,000 people are tuning into your comedy stuff a day, and we're just like, yeah, about 29,000. And no producer in New Zealand, like no one is like, oh, holy shit, guys, we got to get in on this and give you a little bit of support.
Well, to be fair, we haven't approached any producer with that angle.
That's true.
We need to do that. We need to now's probably a good time to to pitch some shit to some people to be like, hey guys, look, we're blowing up online. Here's our shit, 29,000 views a day and climbing. Maybe you want to fund our next thing. Maybe you want to fund episode 3 of the Guy and Harley sitcom.
I guess I think the interesting thing about it is like, we've had like this quite big online fan base for or people watching our stuff for quite a while. And that never seems to clock, because I use that as my intro. I'm like, hello, my name's Guy Pigden, Pigville on YouTube, over 8,000 subscribers and 5 million views. And everyone's kind of like,
yeah,
and it's just like, what do you mean, like, what? That's, like, name another, like, couple of guys who've never, ever had a TV show produced, like, in New Zealand, who have, like, only released the stuff and only built up their brand. How many people are doing that?
Yeah, well, it's just generally YouTubers in New Zealand. Most of them, it's actually 6.5 million views and 10,000 subscribers now. But most YouTubers in New Zealand don't really have that. Like, there are some, they do exist.
Right.
Shan XO, who's like, she does like makeup tutorials. She's got like millions of subscribers, I think. So we're far from the biggest in New Zealand, but we're very far from the smallest as well. Like, we've got to be up there. We've got to be getting up there.
So if you're listening, producers,
sort your shit out.
Hey.
Also, I do think that, because sometimes I, give a little thrill to myself, and I think, imagine if that was an arena, that's 29,000 people. You get them all in a big arena, and you put us up on stage and start. We're like, oh, Mr. Frodo, and oh, Sam, you're a true friend. And we're up on stage in front of 29,000 people doing that.
Our Hobbit bit,
our gay Hobbit parody. That's pretty exciting if you think about that, 29,000 views. But I guess part of it's been watered down a little bit by the fact that those 29,000 views are worldwide, So if it was 29,000 views in New Zealand or in the one city at the same time, well, that'd be huge. You walk down the street, 29,000 people would have seen your face.
Yeah.
But of course, when it's spread out over 6 billion people the world over, or 7 billion, whatever we're up to now.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's
it's
like a drop of piss in the ocean.
It is, but it's a big drop of piss.
But it's a big drop of piss.
Well, just relating to that gay Hobbit parody, open up the Tinder files for 1 second, if I may.
Okay.
So this is how someone identified me on Tinder.
Yeah? All right.
We were just sort of chatting on Tinder, and she was like, do you play Sam in that gay... do you play Sam jerking off to Frodo in that gay Hobbit parody?
Yeah.
That's how I was identified.
Yeah. And were you like...
Is that
you're
you?
like,
And I was like,
and you're
yep,
like, yep,
that is me. That's me doing that.
Yeah. See, Guy genuinely didn't think when he started his Tinder account, he put a link to Pigville in the description, like search Pigville on YouTube sort of thing. And the idea being obviously to help promote. And fair enough, this is exactly what I do with everything. Like everything I do online links some way back to the YouTube. Even our Trade Me.
Trade Me's got it.
And so yeah, it makes full sense. But of course, Guy didn't quite think it through because if you bother to search Pigville on YouTube, you're going to see him having bad sex in one of the episodes of the Guy and Harley show, like really terrible, awkward sex. You're going to see him jerking off.
You're going to get a preview
Frodo.
of that. You're going to get a preview of that.
Preview of what's to come or not to come. And
if we're talking about the girl,
and you see him jerking off to Frodo in a gay Hobbit parody where Sam and Frodo are. Well, where Sam has an undying love for Frodo.
Yep.
And you're going to see various other humiliating things.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think I have more humiliating stuff on there than you.
Well, yeah, you do, but, it definitely doesn't look good for me.
Yeah, well, no, it doesn't look good. I'll give you that.
It's, like, in terms of, like, establishing myself as a dashing leading man.
Or even as a mature adult. Let alone a professional. So...
that's very good. That's a good point. Speaking of maturity and not being mature, I wrote this little piece. I just jot down ideas now.
Okay.
For things.
All right,
okay.
I like this. So we're gonna start writing little bits. And
well, yeah, sure. I mean, this is very short, but
all right.
It's not making love if a bead of sweat doesn't roll down your forehead, drip off the tip of your nose, and fall onto her butt crack.
That's true. That's one of the prerequisites. That's one of the prerequisites. You're not making love if that's not happening.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind, guys.
Yeah. See, women have it so easy in sex, man. Like, they honestly do.
Yeah.
And this is why it's annoying when sometimes women are like, oh, come on, like when they just want a quickie, and it's like, whoa,
whoa.
Well, when a guy wants a quickie, right? With your girlfriend or what, you want a quickie, you can do it. They don't have to do that much.
Yep.
They just lay back basically.
Yep.
But if a woman wants a quickie, then a man needs to perform. He can't just lay back. He's got to get and maintain an erection. There's a certain amount of thrusting involved.
Sometimes a lot.
Sometimes a lot of thrusting.
At a rapid rate.
And there's actually a lot of work there. And so if you if you just really, really can't be bothered, she gets very disappointed.
Yeah.
We
did something happen recently.
No, nothing specific. More just in general. I always thought it's kind of bullshit that it's so easy for women to have sex.
It's so depressing.
Here we are. We're honestly sweating, and a drip of sweat is coming off our nose and dripping down your butt crack, ladies. And that's because of the physical exertion.
Yeah,
because it's hard work.
Like sometimes I have sex and I'm like, oh shit,
gym for me.
Might have had a mini heart attack there at the end. Might have just had a little mini heart attack. Gonna take me 10 minutes to catch my breath.
Yeah.
And also that brings me to another issue, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the whole thing with sex with a new person is so depressing for the guy. Whereas it's just nothing for the girl.
Why is it depressing for the guy?
Well, because you're just like, oh my god, everything that I did, my moves
didn't work.
Yeah, basically all the things that I had laid out beautifully, are now gone. They're the dust.
Yeah, well, you got to start again.
Every girl is like a fucking custom car.
Like a Rubik's Cube.
And the parts are not even in the same place.
Yeah.
and you've got a custom build, and you've got to literally see how the engine works. You've got to break it down, and you just like it's like starting all over again.
It's like starting
right from square one when you were a kid, when you were 16 years old, and you go, "How did any of this work?"
Now,
and let's do that again every single time, every single new
person, and then the other way, the reverse is true. But far less, so men are a little bit different, but, hey, just if you give him a big wet blowjob, you'll probably be okay,
Well, also, sometimes I think, you see the other side of it when girls are like, what's the matter? Like they're like genuinely like, what's going on? Like, how come you're not coming?
Yeah.
Like, how come you're not like, really into this?
It's because you ain't doing shit.
But the answer is because it's been so easy for them, for so long, and then they're just like, why is this? I just do my things, and you guys just come 24/7, right? That's how this works. For guys, completely different. So, ladies, just spare a thought when your man is starting out. Just give him a chance.
Give him a chance.
Just
He's
ease
still
him
learning.
into it. Just help him. Do the best that you can, and lend a helping hand.
Yeah, so to speak. Also, just an interesting, creepy aside.
Yep.
If you think about it, ladies, or anyone, but let's just use the ladies. When you first sleep with somebody new, and they do all their tricks, they show you all their tricks.
Yeah.
You are basically sleeping with their ex, like they are just doing everything that their ex liked, because obviously that's what they're used to at the moment. They're learning what you like.
Yeah.
So when you're with a new girl and she does something or other, that obviously, presumably, her ex was into that. There's an insight there.
That's a very good point.
That's a
very good point.
And then especially if it's something that they end up not doing anymore as the relationship develops, right? Then that was something specific to that previous person that they used to like, and then they realize you don't like it, so they don't bother pushing it,
That's some detective shit right there.
Yeah, well, this is just how my mind works, man. This is what I do. This is how I operate.
The deep insights, yeah. Well, that leads well into one such a recent film that I saw called It Follows.
Right, which I haven't seen yet.
And I did want to talk about this on the last episode, but we sort of ran out of time.
They were as a piece of interesting trivia, they screened directly after us at the Gold Coast Film Festival. So when I walked out of my screening, I walked directly into the crowd for It Follows.
Right.
And they were all there, and it was very busy. It was looking very busy. Busy screening. Very busy.
By comparison to ours?
Well, I wasn't going to say that. But yeah, it was very busy, I'll tell you that.
Okay. Well, look, so I watched the film. It's very good. But basically, it's about what I call a STG, which is short for a sexually transmitted ghost.
Right.
So basically what happens in this film is if you sleep with a particular person, they pass this ghost onto you.
And does the ghost leave that person, or does the ghost continue to haunt that person?
So the ghost leaves the person, it goes on to the next person, right? But if that person dies, it goes back to the old person.
Right.
Now, what is unclear about it is if you sleep with 100 people, does it haunt all 100 and then have to kill them all before it comes back to you? Or is it just the first person that you sleep with that you pass it on to?
I haven't seen it, but surely it's just the first one, right?
It's ambiguous. Well, that's true.
Because otherwise it's just, why, just go to everybody and you can never pass it on. Like,
that's true.
It has to go to one person.
So I think it's the next person, right?
Yeah.
So leading on with that, basically what happens is then you have It Follows comes from the name, this ghost basically just follows you around. Now, if the ghost gets close to you and touches you, you're fucked. It's going to kill you, right?
But you get to have sex.
Wait, what? Yeah, you get to have sex beforehand.
This is a tough one.
So you get to have sex with the person with the ghost attached, but then the ghost will attach to you. And essentially, the ghost can take any form. So it could be your mum, it could be your dad, it could be your friend. It can look like just a homeless person or a hobo, just a random school kid. It could look like anyone, but basically how you'll figure it out, it's the thing, is it'll be slowly following you. Like very slow. It only just walks everywhere. It doesn't ever run. It only ever walks everywhere. And no one else can see it except you.
Right.
So that's how. So if you point out to that person in the crowd, and they're like, "Yeah, I see it."
Yeah,
then
it's not him.
It's not him.
Yeah.
So quite a very creepy premise.
Yeah.
Which obviously, looking into the dangers of STDs or STIs as they're now
as they've been rebranded.
Rebranded them.
They have been. They rebranded them to infections instead of diseases.
Yes. Yeah. But they're the same thing. They're a problem.
Yeah.
And anyway, great film. Obviously very scary. Amazing synth score. One of the interesting things about this particular film is that their release strategy, it was going to be like a couple weeks in the cinema and then straight on to video on demand, etc. What they did is they actually pushed it back, so they gave it a much longer theatrical run, and I think it's still in theatres, and they pushed back the video on demand release.
Was the screening very full that you went to?
No, but this is New Zealand, where people don't necessarily keep the ear to the ground for these types of things.
Yeah. It
was also at the Rialto, and it was for preview screenings.
Right.
So it wasn't like, there was no reason for it to be particularly busy. But, apparently it has done very well theatrically in America. And, essentially this thing has worked, and it could be one of the ways that sort of independent films sort of work from now on is, it's announced that they're going to do all these things at the same time, but then if the theatrical is doing really well,
just push it out.
You just push it back.
Yeah.
Because that way you sort of avoid the piracy of it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was quite clever.
Yeah.
So sexually transmitted ghosts.
Right.
Look out for those.
Well, let's talk about films.
Yes.
If you're interested.
Sure, of course.
I just wanted to talk about, before we recorded the podcast today, we were discussing some things, talking about what we envisioned for I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, and basically we sort of said, I said, just don't think about the money.
Don't think about the money, bro.
Because it's not coming, probably.
Because it's not coming to us. Yep.
Yeah, so I just really wanted to discuss that a little bit more. This idea of, how would you spend the money, just say if it does blow up to some massively huge thing.
Right.
And B, on a more realistic note, we're not going to get any fucking money out of this.
Yep.
So how are we going to make hay while the sun is shining? Or what are we going to do to push it onto our second feature film, Older, or something like that, Because, it's disconcerting. When I tell people what percentage of the film I own, people are shocked and stunned by how little it is. They're like, that's it. That's all you own. And let me tell you, people, it's a very small percentage of the film that I own. And it means that each sale to me is practically nothing.
Yeah.
It really this film needs to take off in a massive way for either of us to really see any money out of it.
And we did talk about this in the last podcast about sort of piracy really eating into everything. And even in terms of selling it overseas, which at one point is how we would have made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Is those sales are much less.
Yeah.
So, if someone used to buy something for $100,000 for their
region.
for Germany, 100K for Germany, right?
That's for the rights to distribute it. So the way it works is each region will buy the rights to distribute it in their sort of area. So it might be Germany and they'll pay 100,000, and then you might sell it to France and they'll pay $60,000 for the rights to distribute it there. And you do it with each region independently, and that's how you can make back a lot of your money.
And so specifically with genre films, that was one avenue that sort of would always work. And the same with sort of, I guess, star-driven vehicles, which is still a bit more, it works a bit more, which is like independent films with one big star in it.
Yeah.
Whether that's your
Dolph Lundgren.
Probably a bit bigger, although they would certainly use that.
Yeah.
Or your Steven Seagal maybe is kind of like specializes in these types of films now.
Yeah.
But we don't have any big star. Harley Neville, unfortunately, is not yet a marquee name.
Yeah.
He's not the Bruce Willis that he may one day become. So unfortunately, we don't have that angle. We did have the genre angle, but due to piracy, we don't so much have that angle.
Yeah.
And therefore it is like, well, what can we expect from these international sales, if anything? And then also, just going back, like, for instance, like the DVD market was this huge market at one point.
Yeah.
Now that the DVD market has diminished by like sort
Dried
of
up.
90%, so then the question is, okay, so if the main place you were going to sell your film is not, so where does that come from? And, well, the answer is probably nowhere.
Yeah, which is why we need to be thinking of the next, like what we can do. So it's like, okay, so we don't have any money, right? We're not going to make any money out of this. Let's assume that we're going to make no money out of it. And if we do make a very small amount of money, say a couple of $1,000 comes our way, that's not covering our costs. That's not that's not covering what Guy and I personally invest in. So let's assume though that we're not going to make money, and if we do, then awesome. I think the trick is we've really got to treat it for what it is, which is a big publicity bomb, which is why it's important to have the second film coming out soon and have the sitcom,
God damn it,
ticking away. No, well, it's coming out soonish.
It is,
and so. Yeah, I think it's important to basically ride the wave, and keep this momentum going while we've got it, and just not really think about the money, and just instead think of it as a big billboard, a big international billboard for Pigville.
Well, that's true, and I think that actually brings up an interesting thing, which is one of my subjects here, in terms of like basically trust and putting your trust in the filmmaker. You trust in low-budget filmmaking specifically. So basically you got two different levels of filmmaking, really. And it is quite black and white, where you, on the one hand, you have your big films or your big TV shows, you get a nice wage as an actor. You get paid well for however long you're on there. And, it's good money, but, it doesn't last. And, at the end of the day, regardless of the quality of the film, you got paid well to be there and to do it.
Yeah.
And that was just that, because, rates for, normal size films, they're good. They, actor is likely to make, $500 a day sort of minimum, and so if you're one of the main actors, that's a lot of money, and that all adds up. And that's, that is sort of the lower end too, it can be a lot more than that. It all depends. And then you have the other side of the spectrum, which is the low budget filmmaking. And that is where it is, as they say, for love. It really is for love. You're not going to get paid anything. You're not even going to get the same type of treatment. We have all these people fawning over you and sort of going, "Oh, you all right? Would you like a Diet Coke? Can we get you anything? Oh, I'll just give you a quick touch up."
Give you a quick tug job.
All of the stuff that actors, can become accustomed to. Yeah, they're all gone, and you might have to fucking pick up a light, take it out. You might have to do your own makeup one day. You will have to be in charge. Like suddenly, normally actors are babied essentially 24/7. They're babied on set. They're treated like they're incredibly special, amazing people. You can basically say or do anything, and everyone will go, "Oh yes, yeah, okay, we'll get on that." Or like, "Oh, Harley's not happy. Well, how can we make him happy? We've got to figure this out, guys. This is serious. We
need more hookers and blow in here.
Harley's upset. This is not right." Harley got the wrong kind of coffee this morning, and someone's heads are going to roll.
He's very hungover, and he needs the right kind of coffee.
Because it makes his stomach upset if he gets the wrong kind, and then his acting is not going to be as good. Guys, this is serious, and someone's going to be fired.
Yes.
And so you have that style of thing, and then you have the sort of, the complete opposite, where you have to rely on everything. The energy you bring to set, everything, it's all on you. And basically what happens is there's many more opportunities to do those low-budget style things. And not only that, they all have some degree of potential, It's sort of like this thing could be amazing, but it probably won't be.
Yeah.
And there's this feeling of like, well, what do I do? Because I'll read this script or I'll see this part and I'll go, this looks like it could be really good. And then you do it and you go, this was really terrible. And the experience of bringing all my energy and all that and not being pampered or anything was not very nice. And And now I've spent, 4 weeks or 5 weeks doing this thing, and it looks crap. And I look crap. I look stupid.
Yep.
They've made me look stupid. I was doing all this amazing acting, and the way that they've cut it has not protected me as an actor.
Yeah.
And I kind of look like a doofus because the whole thing just didn't really come together right. And so then there becomes this reluctancy, this trepidation, and the skepticism about every time someone comes to you and they go, because we're all the same, all us filmmakers are the same, we go, I sincerely believe in this thing, I love it, I'm going to fight for it, I'm going to try and make it as amazing as possible, and it could be amazing, and I believe it will be. And that's, the pitch that you go in with every project you do, as you should. But at a certain point, the actor is like, well, yeah, sure, you say all those things, they've all been said to me before, and they've never come true. So why should I believe you? And I think, for us, certainly, I Survived the Zombie Holocaust is a pretty fucking good reason. Yeah,
well, that has... Okay, so two things about that. One is that when I'm approached to act in, no-budget things, really, the big thing for me is, do I owe you a favour?
That's your question.
That's a big one, because if it's like I owe this person a favour, they've helped us out on set a bunch of times, and I'm not really confident in their filmmaking abilities, but they've helped us when we've needed it. Well, then I say, okay, well, it's time to pay the piper. You got to go along and act in it anyway. And I've done that. I've done that on a few different things. But then the other one as well is I look at what they've done basically, and I see, do they have high production values? Does it look, do they get things finished? That's the main thing. Because a real peeve of mine is when people waste your time making you shoot something, you show up, you're there, you're the actor, you're the crew or whatever.
That's
you
your
show
life.
up, you get it done, you do what you're meant to do, you're not getting paid, you're not getting treated like a star, but you show up and you do it. And so all you expect is for them to do their bit, which is to get the film completed and released, even if it's just online or whatever, So it really pisses me off when I act in something and then it never comes to fruition, because it's like, well, it's kind of a personal insult. You've sort of said your time's more valuable than my time, like your time spent editing is more valuable than my time spent acting,
Well, that's a really interesting point too, because I guess, are we hypocrites because the zombie film took 5 years?
Well, no, because we still were working on it the whole time.
That's
and
true.
we got it out, and it was always going to come out, delays are one thing, but just not coming out at all was another thing entirely.
Although most people would have believed in that 5 year period
that it wasn't going to come out.
It was not coming out.
Yeah, but I guess we kept in mind, we kept everybody in the loop with what was going on as well. People knew that it was developing. Yeah. But yeah, I've no doubt that some people wondered if it wasn't going to come out. But either way, it came out, so it's all good.
So fuck it.
Now, so which brings me along, which connects in with I Survived the Zombie Holocaust has been a massive feather in our cap, I reckon. Basically, since we shot it, even though it hasn't been out, since we shot it and people had heard of it a little bit, just locally, it meant that suddenly, a lot more very talented cast and crew were willing to work with us and take a risk with us. Before Zombie Holocaust, it was like we had mates holding the boom, and we had, just whoever was around doing the camera work, and the actors we got were the actors we could get. Not necessarily the actors that were the most experienced or anything like that. They were just friends usually. But then since Zombie Holocaust, well, it all changed. People we actually got talented actors that wanted to work with us, and talented DPs that were willing to work for free, and all that type of stuff. So it's been a big help. Well, it's given us that legitimacy.
It was very funny too, because I know Leisha Woodnox, who worked on Older. She's one of the main actresses in Older. She said that she was so relieved when she saw the zombie film, because it wasn't bad, it was good, and she was so relieved because, one, obviously, what do you?
Because she had already acted in Older.
She'd already acted in Older. So
by the time she saw the zombie film,
so if she'd seen the zombie film and it was bad, she'd be like, well, dear God, what's going to happen with Older?
Yeah.
Two, what do I say to this person that I've worked with for such a long time to be like,
it's really good.
Cool.
So it's not really, it's cool. It's not really my kind of movie.
Not really my thing.
But it's very cool. It's some of those effects were great.
Yeah, and that she could kind of breathe easy, and that's the thing, and that's what I think I want in terms of our reputation, in terms of what you're talking about of how we go forward. Is like, I want people to breathe easy when they're working with us. I want people to lose all of that skepticism automatically. They just go, right, the Pigville Boys, this is what they do, this is what their fucking thing, and this is how they roll. They protect their actors, they make their actors look good, and I can be like, they're not paying us right now,
and I know they're gonna fucking finish the film at least.
But I know that they're gonna do a good job, and I know that like I'm not gonna have to be embarrassed about this other low budget thing that I was in. Yeah, and that actually brings me to my next topic here, which is old Robert Downey Jr. Yeah. What do you think of Robert Downey Jr.? Just
I like him. Yeah. I'm neither here nor there. I'm not like super massive on him, but
charismatic.
But I like him. Yeah, I'm on board.
So anyway, he did an interview recently. He's done a few interviews for the Avengers, which took. There was one interview that he walked out on when the interviewer kind of tried to hijack the conversation and sort of make it about his druggy past and his dad and stuff like that.
Right.
And he just walked and they kind of did a slow zoom in on him, and then he just walked out basically because he was clearly a little bit upset by the line of questioning. And it had nothing to do with the Avengers. Yeah. Which I thought was totally fair enough, and sort of everyone thought was fair enough. Because it was just like, this guy was trying to make it a kind of a 60-minute piece. Yeah. But he'd just come for like a fluffy, like, hey, so how was it in Iron Man's suit? Was it to get hot in there? You know? Like, that was the kind of thing that he thought it was, and this guy just kind of tried to like really go real deep on it in an exploitative fashion. Yeah. So there was that interview.
I wonder if that has affected his career. The interviewer.
Well, everyone is kind of like, why does he have... Because apparently he's done this a couple of times. He's an English journalist, of course. Yeah. And they're like, why does he always have to be a dick about things? Is basically the consensus on it.
But is he... Can he make a career out of it? Like Paul Henry's made a career of being a cock, basically.
Yeah, well,
like,
to be honest, I mean, that has given him amazing amount of exposure. Right. You know, that's kind of gone viral. Yeah. So, certainly more people know about him, and perhaps he could parlay that into those kind of serious interviews he's trying to do. But the second interview, which has got the internet in an uproar with old RDJ, is this little quote.
Yep. Standing by it.
So he was asked about like if he'd want to be in independent films. He's just done this big budget film. Would he be interested in doing like a little indie film? Is that something he'd like to do? He said, "No." This is his quote. "No, because they're exhausting and sometimes they suck, and then you just go, what was I thinking? But I'm interested in doing all different kinds of movies. Sometimes the little movies are the ones that wind up taking the most out of you because they're like, hey man, we're just running a couple of days behind. Do you think you can stay through your birthday and then come back on the 4th of July? Oh, and by the way, like the crew, can you pay for the craft services? Oh, and by the way, man, when we go to Sundance, it's like, can we just sit you in a chair and you can sell this for 6 days in a row so that we make $180 when it opens in one theater? God, this is so powerful what we're doing. What do you think of the movie? You saw it last night. I thought it was mediocre. Yeah, isn't it the greatest? Man, everyone's an artist here. Actually, most of you are kind of inexperienced and lame.
well, do you have any beef with that? Because I'm kind of on his side there. I totally see where you come from. If I had been in some big Hollywood films and I was used to the being treated really well, and then the idea of going back to these films that do often suck, and you don't get treated that well, and you are expected. We just had this conversation. Yes. You are expected to do a lot more and bring a lot more to it, and you might have to pay, and you might have to sit there for 6 days promoting it off your own name. Yep. And I guess I'm totally on board. I hear what you're saying, mate. I harbour no ill will.
Yeah, well, basically, kind of the indie filmmakers of the world all got up and went, oh, fuck you, Downey. You think you're too good for us now because you're in the fucking Avengers? It was these types of films that made your name,
Is that true?
What, that people felt like that?
No, that these type of indie films made his name.
No, because Iron Man made his name, really. Yeah, and also Robert Downey Jr. has been in films on and off, apart from when he was in serious trouble for his drug addiction and went to jail. in sort of studio films since he was a very young lad. Since he was in Weird Science, and like that was a John Hughes film in the 1980s. So he's been doing them since. So
I remember that.
I guess it is true that he was given opportunities in smaller films when he was sort of going through his trials and tribulations. Yeah. But overall, it's very hard to say whether any of those actually helped him.
Yeah.
At the time, and also, I think it's just a case of indie filmmakers being too full of themselves. After I've just said that you can trust us, we deliver, people deliver. But I mean, I think it is one of those things. I think that's all completely valid. So chill the fuck out, internet. I mean, it's just one of those things. And also, he did another film last year called The Judge, right? Which he, I believe, was like a producer on, and like clearly it was a passion project. It was like a kind of about like a father-son relationship, about lawyers and stuff like that, and it was kind of a thinky drama. And, it wouldn't have been, like, the first choice for him to be in. He just did it because he clearly really loved the script and really loved the story and championed it. So it's not like he's not doing interesting things and he's just being Iron Man. It's just that he doesn't want to be in your shitty $50,000 indie film.
Yeah. Unless that $50,000 is his fee.
Yeah. I think it'd be a lot more than that, mate.
Yeah.
Even for an indie film, yeah.
Right.
So I also wanted to talk a little bit about the dad bod.
The dad bod, but I haven't read this.
Well, basically, it was an article.
I've seen it pop up on my Facebook, but I've been too busy promoting the film. Why are you reading dad bod articles?
Basically, there was it all comes from one article that was printed only like maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, which was basically like, hey, there's this new thing, the dad bod. It's basically guys that like work out but also drink beer and eat pizza and like aren't super ripped, which sums up many guys, and
powerful.
It's gone viral,
but cuddly.
Yeah, it went viral. Like everyone championed it because essentially
it's saying it's okay to have a dad bod.
It was saying it's okay to have a dad bod, and dad bods are cool now.
And did she coin dad bod?
Yeah, she coined the phrase the dad bod.
That's good.
Yeah, and so basically this article blown up, and then everyone was like, "Yeah, DiCaprio's got a dad bod," and they're like talking about all these different people with dad bods. Girls are loving the dad bod. I just had to weigh in on this and say, as a practitioner of the dad bod, since I lived with my dad, girls do not like the fucking dad bod, okay? This is a bullshit, load of shit article. Everyone's embraced because it's the thing you want to believe, as opposed to the thing that is remotely true in any way. No, girls like really cut guys with abs.
Yeah.
That's what they like. Of course, it looks much better than the dad bod, which looks shit.
Yeah.
And so let's please just stop believing there's a thing called the dad bod.
Right.
Like, of course, I'll be talking about the dad bod for a good long while now and going, what? You're not into the dad bod? But I'm being facetious,
Yes.
Like, it's not like, it is not a thing. It's not a real thing. One girl was okay with her boyfriend being a little chubby around the waist and thought up this thing to kind of justify it. Also, one of the things was like one of the kind of I guess arguments that she raised was she was like, so it's cool to have a boyfriend that's going to look the same at 23 as he does at 44, and it's like, no, actually he's going to be morbidly obese.
He's going to have the granddad bod.
At 44.
He's going to have the granddad bod.
He's going to have the middle-aged sag bod.
Yeah.
He's going to be fucked at 44. He's in deep trouble if he's got the dad bod now. So that's a fallacy.
Yeah.
What's your take on the dad bod?
Well, look, I haven't read it, but but I don't have one of those, so
so you don't know.
I just got no opinion.
You can't speak on it.
I'm fucking stacked. I put zero work towards it. But hell, I think the dad bod is not going anywhere. It's not going to escape. We're not going to escape it. Society is not going to escape the dad bod. So hey, a bit of positive press on the dad bod. That's good, right? It could have been another article about how awesome it is to be ripped and have awesome abs.
I guess that's true.
Chalk one up for the little guy or the big guy
or the just slightly chubby guy that does go to the gym. But yeah, I just don't believe it. Don't believe it's true. So don't walk around thinking you're the man with the dad bod. That's all I'm saying. Be wary of one article things that blow up. What else we got?
Well, we've got one. We've got at least one listener question. You got a listener topic this week?
I do actually.
You do?
This is a good one. This is from long-time listener.
Well, I was going to go first.
Oh, okay, you go.
This was from Jason Coombs, who's an American. He had two topics. One was he's been watching iZombie on Hulu.
Yep.
Now, I haven't seen this,
no.
But he says Rose McIver is in iZombie on Hulu, and then in brackets, y'all have that there? As in, y'all have Hulu there?
Yeah.
But he actually said y'all.
Which we don't.
Which we do not.
Oh.
But anyway, he's been watching iZombie on Hulu, and iZombie has a Kiwi actress in it, Rose McIver, who is also in The Lovely Bones and some other crap. So anyway, he wants to know if we know her. Because he Googled her, he Google stalked her after, because he watched it, thought she was really cute, really enjoyed her performance, Googled her, found out she was from Auckland, remembered that Pigville are from Auckland, and sent me a message on Facebook saying, do we know her? Because it's a small industry.
Yeah.
The answer is no.
We do not know her.
The answer is she is a far bigger fish, and if she is, I'm pretty sure she must be LA based or something.
Yeah,
now.
she's LA based.
But if she was over here, she wouldn't be
us.
going to the same party as us.
No.
So that's the answer to that one there.
Although
mate.
she was in Auckland days, right?
Was she? Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah,
I thought I said that on IMDb, but yeah, she's sort of like
she's the next level.
She is well and truly next level. Apparently, iZombie is very good as well. It's made by the same guy, the same showrunner of Veronica Mars, which was another popular TV show which they made a movie out of from Kickstarter.
Right.
Yeah.
And then his second topic was drunk booking. He wanted to talk about drunk booking, which is, of course, Facebooking drunk.
Yeah.
So do you have any tales of drunk booking? I drink book sometimes, you know. But like the thing is, when you're sitting at home on Facebook, or me anyway, I don't tend to get like shit-faced drunk,
right.
So I'm still pretty much in control, you know. But maybe I'm just a little more liberal with some of my snarky comments, and also I'm a little bit more likely to post something, that risks being offensive.
Well, look, sometimes I stagger home, get on the old Facebook, and I'm fortunate that I blocked all my exes on Facebook.
Right, yeah.
So I can't, message them and sort of... What?
It's 2 a.m. I was thinking about you.
Just really thinking a lot about us.
I still love you.
Yeah, I made a horrible mistake. And so, I'm quite fortunate that I can't put myself in that position.
Yeah.
That compromising position.
Preemptive measures. Sober guy took preemptive measures to make sure that drunk guy couldn't do anything stupid.
So, I'm definitely very thankful for that. But, what I do is the very same as you. Is just I'm just super sarcastic and annoying and writing smart ass comments.
Yeah.
Very derogative, kind of just tearing people down on Facebook. Mm-hmm. That is the risk of the drunk book.
Yeah.
But I said, I've got myself out of the. I'm an addict that doesn't leave any of the things that could trigger me lying around, such as ex-girlfriends on my thing. Yeah. So that is. I think I remember I did write there is a couple of my exes on Facebook. Yeah. That aren't so recent, and I think I did write one. I did write one sort of thing when I was drunk, which basically
Like a message, a private message?
No, not a private
Or a
message.
status?
Like she had written something, and basically I replied to it. Oh, she'd posted a photo of her and her mum, right? And I was like, "Who's your hot friend?" Something like implying that I wanted to bone her.
Yeah.
And I think like,
Who's your hot friend is quite funny,
yeah.
but not. It's personally insulting, but it's
Just very insulting to her and her mum, which obviously should read that. And
And your
like,
mum's
isn't that
tagged
your
in it.
ex-boyfriend? Like, he's disgusting.
Yeah.
He's a disgusting pig. Why were you ever with that man?
Yeah.
Thank God you're no longer with him.
Yeah.
I am like,
It is funny though from the outsider's perspective. It's just not funny for anybody
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, I think
yes.
it's very funny.
well, I also like, noticed that I have this attribute that every like girl that is with me finds the love of their life after they've broken up with me.
Yeah.
So they're like
They get married after
a
they've
lot
been
of my
with you.
ex-girlfriends are married or in very happy, serious relationships. And so I'm like the good luck Chuck guy so if ladies, you ever want to meet the love of your life, date me for a little while and the next person will the next person will be them. So that is the power. That is the powers. My special powers, my superpowers. That's what I have.
Yeah.
That's what I've been
So
blessed with.
if you want to get married, date guy and then break up with him.
Exactly. As so many have done before you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is my reader topic.
Okay.
So this is from, long-time listener, Liam Hegarty. Mm-hmm. He's in a band.
Yep.
Laura Palmer.
Laura Palmer. Look them up on
Which is
Facebook.
a reference to Twin Peaks, I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right.
Which is the girl that was murdered, right?
Something like that. I did read it. Read it, and then I immediately dismissed it.
Pretty sure that's the whole mystery is based on the disappearance of this girl or the murder of this girl. I can't remember. I didn't watch all of Twin Peaks. There, I said it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let the internet hate spew forth.
Yeah. If only they gave a shit.
Probably.
There'll be no comments about that.
Anyway, he's like, "Hey man, hope you guys are well." We are pretty well. I watched a Tom Hanks movie called The Terminal last night, directed by Steven Spielberg. It was the biggest abomination of a film I have maybe ever seen. Everything about it was offensive and just amazingly bad. And I can't seem to stop thinking about how bad it was. And my question for you guys is, can you discuss any films that you've seen in recent times you were astonished by how bad they were? Also, have you seen The Terminal? Spielberg's worst film ever?
Yeah, well, look, I'll let you go first on what's the worst film, but I will say that The Terminal, I watched it, and it was just so shit. It was like they had that's Tom Hanks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so we're definitely talking about the right thing.
Tom Hanks doing a Borat impersonation.
Yeah, now the thing was about that film, now I watched that, I don't know how long ago I watched it, but I was young and I didn't give a shit about, like performance and that type of thing, But even then, when I was watching The Terminal, I was like, Tom Hanks seems to have mixed up being foreign with being retarded. Like there's this scene where he's like looking at himself in it's the reflection of himself in a window, and behind the window is a mannequin wearing a nice suit, and the way where he's standing is lined up just right so that you can see his head and you can kind of imagine it being on that suit, and it's like I was just like, yeah, that's kind of retarded. Like it's kind of like, it's almost like he was like literally, as in I'm using the term clinically retarded, like as in like a little bit special needs or a little bit very slow, like he was not, it
Tom
was like,
Hanks's classic
he was
special needs role as
Forrest Gump
in The Terminal as opposed to Forrest Gump.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like really he should like it was like he was playing a foreign guy, but instead of just being foreign, he was this really sort of this idiot, basically, this low IQ idiot, and that was my big issue with The Terminal. Amongst many other issues.
Well, also just it was definitely Spielberg's worst film. There's no doubt about that. You can't really make any excuses for it, except that his track record is pretty good. And I think that's the thing though, is like if you make films for long enough, you're gonna make a bad film. It could be your first one. Could be your second one.
Yeah.
Sometime you're just going to get the elements wrong because it's fucking really difficult to get them right. And even if you're Steven Spielberg, you just can't make good films 24/7. Even though at one stage he was. Like, he had a good 30-year run probably, or 25-year run where he probably did make a good film. But then, he had The Terminal. So do you have any bad films that you've thought of?
Oh, I basically... Okay, so... Right. Troll 2, okay, is so... It's like the worst film, but it's so bad that it's good.
Yeah.
Like,
we're not talking
it's
about
endearing,
those, right?
so I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it because it's endearing. But then there's like, I don't know, like The Fast and the Furious and all of the ones that follow it. Like, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Now, now that film opens with a scene where some cars are racing and everybody's like super cool and everyone's such a badass, everyone's so, gangster and like serious and super cool and everything they say is a quote, and and then they have this race and basically, one of the guys gets in front and there's this drawbridge opening up and one guy zips across the drawbridge and the guy who's coming second is like, no way, man. No way am I going to let a little drawbridge stop me from winning the race. So he blasts up the drawbridge, flies like 100 meters in the air, and a speeding car flies over the top of a car which is on the ground, which wouldn't happen. Just because you're in the air doesn't mean you're going faster than a car going in a straight line on the ground. It doesn't make any sense. You're going slower.
Physics.
Cars are not designed to fly. But he flies over the car which is speeding along and lands in front of him, and instead of exploding and dying horribly, he like lands it and keeps driving. I was like, this is that was like the opening scene, and I was like, this is the shittest film ever, and if you watch this and enjoy it, you are a fucking idiot.
Well, it's funny. They actually did a joke about that in Dumb and Dumber.
Right.
Dumb and Dumber 2, I should say.
Yeah.
Where basically they take the old... they find that dog mobile that he had in the first one, and they basically steal it, and then they do this huge jump over a hill in slow motion, and then it just lands and completely crashes and falls to pieces. Because if you do a jump like that, you completely fuck your car.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. It was like, no, that's it. That's the end of the thing. And so I thought that was funny because that's more the reality.
Yes.
Dumb and Dumber 2 is more realistic
than Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. Look, I'm a big hater of the Fast and Furious franchise.
So am I.
And it really worries me and concerns me for the human race that the Fast and the Furious is basically, it's going to be one of the it may be the last one, maybe the highest grossing film of this year, and it is going to be probably in the top 10 of all time. Think about that for a second. The 7th film in a terrible franchise which promotes openly stupidity. I've got to have a sip of this drink.
Well, look, I'm a little bit concerned, and are you not concerned that the world or the population is like overall, like the percentage... I understand that the population itself is getting bigger.
Yep.
But does it seem like the population of stupid people is getting bigger faster than the population of intelligent people?
Possibly.
Because I'm a little bit concerned.
Evidence being Fast and Furious 7.
Well, yes, exactly.
Box office gross.
Exactly. Like if you watch these types of films and are genuinely kind of just entertained, it's one thing to look at it. Say it was a 5-minute film. I could handle it in a 5-minute film. You go, okay, so there's some car chases, a bit of badass talking, a little bit of kissing and some sex, and then a happy ending.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, I got it. Put that in 5 minutes, and that's an entertaining short. But to drag it out for 7 feature-length films, the same kind of shit again and again, I don't know how you can be entertained by that. And if you are, I'm concerned about your IQ.
Well, I'll throw a couple of films that, because I'm thinking about, I guess, I would define these as sort of successful films that were the worst thing ever. Like I think, it's one thing to just call out bad films that just did terribly as well. But, these films were actually, to one degree or another, sort of successful. So I'm just going to throw a couple at you.
Okay.
Big Mama's House.
Yeah, but that notion is just so terrible. I guess that it was never going to be a good film. You know, it's about Martin Lawrence or whatever dressing up as a granny, and what's worse,
undercover granny.
And what's worse is that he wasn't even doing it first. You know, it wasn't Mrs. Doubtfire.
No.
You know, it was just a cheap knockoff, and so it was always going to be bad. So I feel like you can't be too critical of it.
Okay.
It's like it's meant to be shit.
Well, this one I had some real problems with. White chicks.
Same notion though, the same idea. Like it's that same gag of dress somebody up, basically dress a man up as a woman.
Yep.
You've got a whole movie.
Yeah.
It's that English, that's that absurdist English sort of humor that they do, but it's translated over into the American style.
Right.
And it's that same joke against that same story again, and it basically is never going to be done better than Mrs. Doubtfire.
I agree. Well, I guess my beef with white chicks, right, is that they did look so terrible. Like, they looked like fucked up, like, plastic kabuki dolls.
Yeah.
There was just no way...
Bukkake dolls. Bukkake dolls.
You could never even... Oh, my God, I hope not. Like, you can never... Like, you know, it's that whole thing of, like, the premise is like, we just go along with the premise. It's like, no, you would have to be someone with serious... mental problems
or eye issues
to not go like, right, I'm sorry, I can't stop staring at you because your face is totally fucked up,
and you're clearly a large black man pretending to be a small white woman
with white paint on your face.
Is that paint?
Is that white paint on your face?
Your hands are giant.
It was just so implausible that they. And then of course I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure, you know, the old classic happened.
It happens heaps where people hit on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it happens, and guys are hitting on them like, hey, baby, you know.
It's just like...
And it ruins the reality.
These people look like grotesque monsters. They look like people out of a horror film.
Yes.
They looked literally like the Grudge, except people were pretending to be attracted to them. So I had a big beef with that. Okay, I'm going to throw this one.
The girl from The Grudge looked hotter.
Oh, definitely. Than those white chicks.
Those two guys dressed as white chicks.
Those black guys as white chicks. Okay, I'm going to throw another couple at you.
Yeah.
The Matrix 2. Matrix Reloaded. What do you remember about that?
Well, that's a problem, because I remember I really, really enjoyed the first one. Big fan. Really loved it. And then... the second one, I think I was like, yeah, that was a bit shit. And which is the one that's got the ghost twins in it?
That's the second one.
That's the second. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, that's a real shame. It really just went downhill. Yeah. But would I say it's one of the worst films that I've ever seen? No, it's not the worst.
I guess it was one of the films.
It's just a big disappointment because it had such, there was so much hype, and the first one was so good, and then for these, I don't know, the second one just...
I guess I thought that as soon as Neo started wearing a skirt, I thought we were in trouble.
Right.
You know, I was like, the first one he's wearing this badass trench coat. And the second one he's wearing this skirt, this long black half skirt thing.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, why is Neo wearing a skirt?
Yeah.
Why is this, where's his old trench coat?
Yeah.
Why did they convert that to the skirt?
Yeah.
And I was just like, this definitely does not bode well. And it certainly didn't. So there was that, but to be honest, there's two that I really have a big issue with. Mm-hmm. Recently, Die Hard 5.
Okay,
have you watched that?
No, I think I just caught the end kind of thing one time, when that was enough for me.
Everything about it was bad, and also it's just so sad when you see a franchise be destroyed, and not destroyed and blown up with just stupidity left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And there was so many things wrong with Die Hard 5, but the main one being all the fucking Die Hards, right, are basically about everyman Bruce Willis going up against a super clever criminal and besting him ultimately, right? Yeah. That is the dynamic.
And taking a lot of damage along the way.
Exactly. That's the dynamic of them. That's what is really that's Die Hard. That's what Die Hard's about, right? And in this one, you don't even really know who the bad guy is till the last sort of 10 minutes and then it's kind of a reversal of who you thought it was.
Okay, don't do any spoilers.
And
in case somebody cares.
And you're just like, what what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It was just so un-Die Hard.
Right.
So to me, that film was one of those ones where I was just like, why did they think this was good? How did they make it?
Okay, but is it one of the worst films
yes.
ever
Yep.
that fits with Liam Hegarty's question?
Yes, Die Hard 5.
Die Hard 5.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. And it, it was a franchise killer. It was awful. And then my second pick, Batman and Robin. You remember Batman and Robin?
Not well enough, no.
Mr. Freeze, Arnie?
Oh, yeah, but I guess I was the right age when I watched that.
Did you find that all right?
I was like, yeah, Arnie, Mr. Freeze. what did he say? Like, I don't know, like, chill out.
Yeah, but he did. He did.
Did he literally say chill out?
This is
take a chill pill.
That was one of the biggest problems with it. Was like you had 4 bad guys or something.
Yeah.
One of them being Mr. Freeze, right? Who his whole shtick was making cold puns.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all he did. You are not taking me to the cooler. Mm-hmm. Like, it was ridiculous. Batman slapping on the ice skate boots at one point.
Right.
They kind of tap their heels together and put on the ice skate. Because I'm a huge Batman fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big, Batman was my favorite superhero, basically. And I was a huge fan of the first Batman. Second Batman was a little weird. Third Batman was okay, but bringing in Robin is stupid.
Yeah.
Then the next one's got Robin and the fucking chick, Batgirl.
Yeah.
And it's just, and obviously, that's already the start of the problems. But, for such a level of excitement to then just kill a franchise, Batman and Robin really takes the cake for me. And also, I saw that when I was a kid. I saw that when I was 16. And I remember being super excited for it, super amped. I was fine with George Clooney being Batman. Everything all seemed all right to me. And I saw it and I was just like, what is this? What is going on? Like, why have they done any of this? So that would be my pick for those 2.
Right. So there you go, Liam. There you go. Now, I believe that we're going to have to draw this to a close,
yes,
seeing as we're now at that time. But we do have a very small piece of feedback from Blair Martin, who says, "Hey, man, I've been on board for the last 5 or so podcasts, and I got to say, I'm really into it."
Yep.
So there you go.
Well, look,
a little bit of an endorsement from Blair Martin.
Thank you very much, Blair. If you really like it, give it a share.
Yeah.
Or just tell your friends, like, hey, man, I've been listening to this fucking funny podcast. You guys should check it out on iTunes or wherever, like Guy and Harley show. It's really good. They talk about films. They talk about their embarrassing life, sex stories, where things went wrong with them in the bedroom. And it's really quite hysterical.
And sometimes they say offensive things that are going to come back to haunt them in their future careers.
Oh, my God. They say so many of those.
They say so many things that could be taken out of context and used against them in the future.
Well, I was thinking of a post where basically it was like, because Slow West is a film that's being released at the same time as the zombie film,
right?
Which is kind of
where in New Zealand.
In New Zealand,
yeah,
like arty western kind of thing.
Okay,
it was a co-production between
any film with the word "slow" in the title. Doesn't do it for me, man.
Prejudge, but anyway,
well, I don't want it to be slow.
But anyway, critical acclaim, debuted at Cannes or something like that, or Sundance, I think.
Sundance.
You just Harley should his head at Sundance as if he hadn't heard of it and wasn't interested in the Sundance film festival.
I don't give a shit.
Dismissively shook his head like he wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't care. Zombie Holocaust.
Slow West is released at the because time as our film.
Have they sold out the cinema?
Well, they don't have a Q&A.
Well, that's all I'm saying.
They don't have a Q&A with the cast and crew. Because
well, would they like us to go along and do a Q&A? we could do a Q&A after the screening for them.
Well, anyway, it's got Michael Fassbender in it. Do you know who he is?
I've heard this name.
He's the guy that plays the young Magneto in the X-Men films.
Oh.
And plays a robot in Prometheus, the android in Prometheus. And basically a whole other... He's the hot thing right now. So
right.
He's the main dude in Slow West.
Right.
And I was thinking of doing an update where I was like, Michael Fassbender, more like Michael Assbender. Why would you go and see that shit where you can see zombie holocaust?
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about digging myself holes.
Why? Because he doesn't want to work with you? Because one day he can look back on your Facebook? I feel like that's very optimistic.
I was more thinking just that people will be like, why are you bagging Slow Western? Why are you making gay connotations about this man? Like it's an insult. And I was like, but his last name just kind of worked for that.
It works. Yeah, well, I guess that one might be worth not doing. In the interest of professionalism.
That was a legit update that I was planning for May 22nd.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, look, we are drawing this to a close. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure that you get your own copy of the I Survived a Zombie Holocaust DVD. You can pre-order it right now if you go to the Zombie Holocaust Facebook page. That's facebook.com/ISAZH.
3 commentary tracks on that.
Yep.
So you learn all about how we made that shit.
Yep. Not just from Guy and I either. So it's not just like there's a podcast attached. Although one of them is kind of like
one of them is.
But the other two, involve some very interesting people. Jocelyn Del Christian and Mike Newport
anymore.
Oh, okay. Jocelyn Christian and Jocelyn Newport. Shit, she got married. Sorry,
she got married 5 years ago.
She's always been Jocelyn Christian to me, and also I'm pretty sure on Facebook she's still Jocelyn Christian. She is.
No, I don't think so. She thinks she's changed it on Facebook as well.
Oh well, shit. Either way, Jocelyn Newport.
Our dearest friend from high school.
Yeah, she's been a long-term friend of ours. She's still Jocelyn Christian on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So you might want to lock that down, Mike. It's her husband. Just saying, you might want to have a word about that. Now, so Jocelyn Christian is on one of the tracks, and Mike Newport, who is her husband, is on another one because he's the composer.
Yes.
So anyway, make sure you go along, get your DVD. Get your very own DVD. Also, if you're in Wellington or Dunedin, there are screenings coming up just for you.
Yep.
And Auckland too, actually. But the first one sold out, but there is going to be a second one.
Second Q&A.
Yep.
With the boys.
Yep.
The boys.
And also, if you've got any questions for next week, go to the Pigville Productions Facebook page or the Guy and Harley podcast Facebook page and send them to us, and we will make you famous next week.
Thank you very much.
Good night. You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast. Proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.